Honestly, in Nigeria, I think there's a huge distinction between the rich and the poor, right? Like,
Right.
it's either you're super rich or you're surviving.
You have it or you don't.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that made me more of get into the hustling spirit, because I see my dad. Just a little bit about my dad. My dad started entrepreneurship, but before he owns his own store, it took him I think almost 15 years for him to own his own store.
Wow.
So he learned this trade, but back then it was more of you can learn and then they give you money, they sponsor you kind of a thing.
Right.
But I think someone took my dad's money.
Yeah.
So my dad had to start all over again for him to get that money back and then start his own trade. So it was so much of a journey. So and the hustling spirit. So when my dad shares this, it's more of I know I have to put in the work, I have to hustle too for myself,
Yeah.
There's no one who's going to be there to save you.
Right. Hi guys, welcome. This is Jalovan Journey. I'm Black Montana, and today we're interviewing Emmanuel Ohana. He is an entrepreneur, financial advisor, content creator. What else do you do?
I think that's all.
You seem like you do a lot.
Yeah, I do a lot, but mainly those are what I do.
Being an entrepreneur is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, honestly. And the way I started was from my childhood. I don't know, I can share. So I started entrepreneur when my mom owns a corner store.
Okay.
So I think I was around 8 or 10.
Right.
And then my mom, she was just like a stay-at-home mom. Then my dad was like, oh, you have to own this corner store. You can sell stuff. And then we took over the store. We started selling stuff for my mom. I remember selling stuff for my mom and seeing people's face, when you serve people, you see the joy on their face and you're like, oh, you can actually make money,
Right.
As a kid, you make money and then you Mom, I made this X amount of money.
Right.
So I think that was where it started from. And then my dad wasn't in corporate. My dad was more of he was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur too as well. He sells plumbing materials and stuff. I remember going to my dad's store afterwards just for me to learn the business,
Yeah.
I started learning the business for a while, and then afterwards, that's where my entrepreneurial journey started.
Right.
Right.
Especially you're from Nigeria, right?
Yeah, I'm Nigerian.
So being from Nigeria and living in Nigeria, that kind of gives you a natural hustle vibe.
It does.
And how do you feel like that empowered you in your entrepreneurial journey?
Honestly, in Nigeria, I think there's a huge distinction between the rich and the poor, right?
Right.
It's either you're super rich or you're surviving.
You have it or you don't.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that made me more of get into the hustling spirit, because I see my dad. Just a little bit about my dad. My dad started entrepreneurship, but before he owns his own store, it took him I think almost 15 years for him to own his own store.
Wow.
So he learned this trade, but back then it was more of you can learn and then they give you money, they sponsor you kind of a thing.
Right.
But I think someone took my dad's money.
Yeah.
So my dad had to start all over again for him to get that money back and then start his own trade. So it was so much of a journey. So the hustling spirit. So when my dad shares this, it's more of I know I have to put in the work, I have to hustle too for myself,
Yeah.
There's no one who's going to be there to save you.
Right. And then starting off from a corner store where where every penny matters.
Yeah.
Do you feel that also shaped your career path right now in being a financial advisor?
Yeah, 100%. It does shape my mindset, and it does help me being a financial advisor and an entrepreneur. That's not only the business or the trade I did when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I went to university. I went to start selling shirts. Back home we don't have the designer brands you call Adidas or the Gucci. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I know they have Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, maybe. Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. Oh, a Bebas or
Yeah,
something
or
like
Bebas.
Yeah.
Were you the one printing those?
Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we do have those would I call it fake?
Yeah, there's a lot of fake.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't have the real brands.
Yeah.
So I remember going traveling all the way to like Lagos. I wasn't born in Lagos. I remember traveling all the way to Lagos to go get like shirts to sell to my friends in school. Right.
Yeah.
So I started like selling shirts. I'll buy for like 1,000 naira.
Yeah.
Sell for like 2 grand. I mean,
Wow.
yeah. I was making a lot of money there,
It's like
but
100% profit.
I know, but I don't include my transport. But all I know
It's
is
just the Nigerian hustle.
exactly. I'm
Right.
just making money.
You gotta
You know,
keep the wheels moving.
So then afterwards I started selling. I love puppies, so I got my
Puppies?
Yeah, puppies like dogs.
Like dogs. Okay.
Yeah. So I sold puppies.
Nice.
Yeah, I sold puppies for a while.
Like what kind of puppies?
Rottweilers.
Rottweilers.
Yeah.
They're quite big in Nigeria too.
Big and
especially
aggressive.
with like security and
Yeah.
like guarding houses and
Yeah,
stuff.
100%.
And how did that go?
Pretty well. I
Yeah?
sold a lot of puppies there. I remember coming here and then I had some puppies I had to sell, and then my mom keep calling me like, "Yo, we have to sell your
Yeah.
puppies and stuff."
How'd you like? Do you get the puppies or do you breed them
I
yourself?
breed them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were a breeder too,
Exactly.
part of your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long have you been here in Canada?
I've been here for about 6 years.
It's a long time.
Mm, it looks like
Pretty.
yesterday. Yeah.
And how do you find your entrepreneurial journey in Canada or in Vancouver, to be specific?
I would say it's demanding,
Yeah.
you know, because I think there's a lot of people who work 9 to 5 here. You know?
Right.
And it's hard for you, like moving from another country, moving down here. It's a different environment. It's a different mindset. It's a different. You don't understand how finance works. You don't understand how the system works. You don't know where and how to get resources. You know.
Right.
So it's different. You know.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit challenging for me when I just started my career.
What does it take to become a financial advisor?
Honestly,
Or
How-
yeah.
yeah, I would say more of like under 95% or 99% of the things we do is all about your mindset, right?
Right.
If you can think it, you can achieve it. That's what I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Yeah.
But it all comes to like you also need to study for it too as well. You need to get your license and all those kind of things.
Do you have to be licensed?
Yeah, you have to be licensed. Yeah.
And how long does that licensing take?
It depends on how fast you want to take your license. Some people take it in like 6 months, some people a year. It depends on how fast you want to take your license.
And then once you get your license, you're good to go. And
You're good to go. You can start practicing and you can start helping people.
what does a day for a financial advisor look like?
A day for a financial advisor, I would say.
It's a tough question, eh?
Yeah, it's a tough question. Okay, I'll just explain the day, like my own personal day. Like I
Right.
wake up in the morning, like let's say 6, 7.
Yeah.
I work out first. You know, gotta keep the body and mind.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, I take a shower and then I go to the office. Or sometimes I work from home, right?
Okay.
So I reach out to my
Clients.
Okay, when is gonna be the right time to reach back to you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we try to book calls, right? Try to help them with their finances and all those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Do you
that-
build portfolios for them?
Yeah.
Okay. And like now we're in a time where the whole financial system is shifting. Where do you find yourself in there?
For me, I find myself more I want to build my own brand,
Right.
right? It's more about you as a person, right? Because there's so many financial advisors out there, there's so many financial institutions out there, right?
Yeah.
But it all depends on you yourself, right? Like, how do you present yourself to your clients? How do you present yourself to the world? What kind of content do you put out there, right? I don't just put out financial concept or content. I put more of like both mindset and workout. So it's more of like I'm building my brand, like me
Right.
as a self, right?
Yeah.
So like few years from now, like I know I have my own brand. Not like I'm working for someone, but I have my own things going on, right?
Okay.
I have my own portfolio. I have my own clientele. You know?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So initially, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a good question. But honestly, I think for me, since I have a newborn, was 3 months.
Oh,
All right.
congratulations.
Thanks.
Boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Wow.
So the mom is Mexican, I'm Nigerian. So I'm thinking of going back and forth for, probably live 6 months in Mexico and like leave
Yeah.
6 months over here and then go back to Nigeria for a bit, like
For the
visit
next 5 years?
yeah.
Okay.
But I do want to have my own brand and year. But the job I do is more of like online. It's flexible, so I can
Right.
work from anywhere. I just need my phone or the internet or my computer and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
And by saying your own brand, what does that mean? Like, you want to start selling merch, or are you going to be selling courses, like financial courses, or are you, what is that? What is your brand all about?
I think I'm getting there into the courses. I'm thinking of starting my own YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
Right. I'm thinking about writing books about like finance, mindsets and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But right now, I think I wouldn't say I'm still in the growing stage, but we're all learning, right?
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Right.
Right. So I feel like I'm still like growing. And for now, I'm more focused on like building my clientele. Then I can reach out to, or like I can go into like podcast and go into like writing books and go into like opening my YouTube channels
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And do you engage in any tradings, or you're just on the portfolio chapter?
Portfolio, but I don't do day trading,
Okay.
It's more of like yes, there's ways to build wealth, right? There's
Yeah.
so many ways people build wealth. Some people do day trading, which is awesome,
Right.
But I don't do that for my clients. I do more of like investing for the long term.
Long-term
Right.
investments.
Like all those type of index funds and all those kind of things,
Right.
right? They're doing pretty well.
No volatility, cryptocurrency stuff.
Nah, I don't know.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would say it works for some people, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's different.
Mm-hmm.
The way you make money might be different from the way I'm gonna make money.
Right.
Like we're different people, right?
Yes.
So I feel some people can take the risk and they do
Yeah.
make money from there. You can make 100% of your profit back,
Yeah.
and you can lose 100% of your profit too.
Yes.
And I wouldn't do that to my own clients too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I prefer slow and steady. You can get like a 30%, you can get like a 10% rate of return. As long as you're getting there or closer to your goals and dreams, I feel like that gives me joy compared
Yeah.
to like just risking all, right?
Yeah. With the shift in the financial system going on, a city like Vancouver, which is thinking of investing into Bitcoin, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it's going to reach a point where it's going to be too late, or for kind of adopting that change, or
For
is it
myself.
too early, or yeah?
Honestly, I don't look into Bitcoin that much because I've done it for a while.
Okay.
Back in Nigeria, and I lost so much money. So I was like, you
That's
know
the
what?
story of APO.
Yeah, I think
he
that's not for me. So yeah, that's why I don't really look into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the shift in the financial system in the sense of money being more digitalized.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see? What are your thoughts on that?
Um,
Like, we're moving more into digital currencies being accepted. I
Yeah.
think El Salvador is also the first country to have Bitcoin in like accepted everywhere.
I mean, I think that's a good idea, but I feel like the natural resources like gold, diamonds, and all those
Yeah.
kind of things,
Tangible.
exactly, those are tangible. They still gonna stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would invest more on those compared
Yeah.
to like the Bitcoin and those things.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on the AI in finances?
I feel like for AI might take over multiple jobs. Like, I don't want to be, I don't know. I don't want to judge people's job or what people do. Like, probably like the warehouse kind of job or some kind
Yeah.
of job, they can probably take over. But I feel like for finances, it's different. Like, you might be different. You might want to buy yourself a house in 2 years. Some other person might want to buy himself a house in a year, or he want to travel over the world. So his
Yeah.
dreams, his goals is different. So your own savings might be different from someone else's savings. Your own investments or your portfolio might be different from someone. So you cannot have AI do search things. You
Yeah.
need someone who's like, well, like a veteran or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like, for example, with the common use of ChatGPT in the financial world, it is kind of taking some of your clients away from you in a way, where like some of the questions or some of the things that I wanted to understand, where on a normal day I would go to a financial advisor for, but now I have an app where I could get all of this information. Do you feel that kind of is a clash in?
No, not really. But I do have my clients asking me questions like, "Oh, I heard this from chat, or I heard this from, I've seen this on the internet, or I've seen this on Instagram or something like that." I feel like it just gives me more of like, okay, I understand why I'm in the field, why I
Yeah.
do these things, right? Yeah, you might get all those information, but how do you invest in your own self, or how do you use the TFSA, for example, to benefit you, right?
What's that? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
It's a tax-free saving account.
Okay.
So you get to grow your money tax-free, and withdrawals are also tax-free.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many people in Vancouver use that? Is there like a rough statistic?
Honestly, I haven't really gone deep into like the estimate of people who use TFSA, but honestly, on a scale, okay, let's say if you come across with 10 people, I would say one or two of them understand finance, and like eight don't really understand what
Yeah.
finance is all about, right?
And Vancouver is such an expensive city where you
is.
really need to be ahead of your
Yeah,
finances.
because inflation right now is around like 8 to 10%.
Where do you see your role in that? Do you educate people through your content that you produce, or what do you do?
So yeah, I do educate people based on the content I put out there, with different saving options. I also educate people based on like insurance policies too,
Right.
which might be like a universal life or like a whole life policy, depending on how it fits you, right?
Yeah.
Um, people always say, like rich people own like so many insurance with everything they own, right? Like
Yeah.
their vehicles, their pets, and everything. Because I feel like rich people prefer spending someone else's money instead of spending their own money to
Right.
solve a problem.
Leverage
Right.
the system.
Exactly. And sometimes with the insurance policy, you do have, depending on how it's structured, you have this portion where it's the investment portion, which you can invest in the markets, like
Yeah.
the S&P 500 or the US markets, for example, right? And you can access that money tax free, right? People use that as a retirement plan. You're
Yeah.
building your wealth, and you're also protecting yourself as well, right? So it's like a package deal.
So you would consider yourself someone who's teaching others how to become rich.
Exactly. I build wealth for people.
And where do you see yourself in terms of wealth?
Where do I see myself?
Yeah. I know it's a personal question, but like, how are you going to build that portfolio, or how are you going to afford a house in such an expensive city, or how does that, like, where do you see yourself pulling the rocks from? I know it's a hard question. But
Yeah. Honestly, about being expensive, I wouldn't say expensive. I would say it's all about your mindset, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. I do know that. Like houses are going crazy now in Vancouver, right? But for me, I know I will, like for me, I know for my own self, like yeah, like houses are so expensive, but it's not. I know I would be able to afford something for my own self too and
It's
my
all in the
family,
mind.
right? It's all about your mindset.
Yeah.
It's all about like, okay, if you can think it, you can achieve it,
Right.
right? I know for a fact, like yeah, of course, 100%, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get something for myself too and my family.
And that's how I feel like I started my own fitness journey, when I visualized myself being different from what I saw in the mirror then. And like you said, if you believe in it, you can achieve it.
Yeah,
And I feel like I've come so far with that kind of
that's good.
thought. It was so nice having you.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to having you in more episodes to kind of see where your journey ends, I guess.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on jollof rice? Like, which one's better? Like, is it the Nigerian? Is it the Ghanaian?
You don't need to even say that.
Why not?
There's just one jollof rice.
One jollof rice.
Yeah.
This guy's not even messing around. So what's the one jollof rice?
I'll leave it for them to decide.
I don't think you're gonna leave your Nigerian boys hanging out like that, eh?
Yeah.
It's Nigerian. Okay, it's Nigerian jollof.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice having you.
Yeah.
And
Same.
take care.